Alright, so we have a couple different topics to cover in today's video. We have a reboot for Stephen King's Cujo, a reboot for Starship Troopers, and we have first look images for the Toxic Avenger movie coming out starring Peter Dinklage. But if you're new here, welcome to Fantasy Films. My name is Kevin, and we're going to talk about Cujo first. I love this movie. Very old movie, 1983, I do believe. Stephen King's Cujo, where a mother and son are kind of, we'll say, fending themselves off against a rabid dog while trapped in their car. It's such a great movie. It really is. And this was based off a 1981 novel turned into a 1983 film. It's a good movie because it hits in a lot of different areas. It hits the horror genre. It hits the psychological drama, also psychological horror. There's a lot of different aspects this movie hits on, and it does it really, really well. Now, the fact that we're getting a reboot of this is interesting, but also concerning. For the same reason that I was concerned of the Pet Sematary reboots, which I did not like at all. I did not like them at all. They could not capture the same feel, the same terror, the same emotional involvement that you got with Pet Sematary. I'm terrified that this same thing is going to happen with Cujo. They're going to reboot it with all the modern technology and all the modern CGI and all the stuff that they can do to make this movie, quote, better. But it's not going to make it better because you're still not going to have that same feel. Something about movies back in the 80s really managed to capture not only a visual fear, but a psychological fear. And I think that's what's missing in a lot of movies today. That's really hard to capture. And I just hope they don't botch this up. I think Cujo is great. It's got a very huge cult following. I just don't want to see a reboot destroy a good classic. But of course, I want to know what your thoughts of that are, so leave that down in the comments while we talk about another reboot, Starship Troopers. This is, again, a cult classic. This movie, it didn't get the response it was supposed to get in the theaters. This was supposed to be a big blockbuster movie, and it never got to that point. It got a cult following after the fact for its comedic campiness and some things of that nature, but the extreme violence with the aliens and the shootouts and things like that. And I enjoy this movie, but could it benefit from a reboot? I think this one can. I think this one could benefit from a reboot and be really, really good. I don't think that it would take away from the original, like I have concerns of Cujo doing. I think this one would. This doesn't have that psychological or mental fear attachment that Stephen King's horror movies did back then. This one is more of an action comedy parody. And if they want to reboot this, I'm all for it. I will happily go see this movie. I think it would be fun. The alien attacks were very violent. To see their sharp legs or appendages and teeth just going through these people's limbs and bodies, it was bloody, gory, violent, and fun. There was a lot of comedy behind some of these scenes, and I think that's what made this movie a cult classic after the fact. For whatever reason, I don't know why it didn't get the recognition while it was in the theaters, but I enjoy it now, as I know a lot of people do. There's still a lot of memes online about Starship Troopers. So I'm down for this. Again, let me know what your thoughts are on this in the comments while we look at Toxic Avenger first looks. Peter Dinklage. Now, originally this movie was said to not be releasable. So we were not going to get this movie, but then enough of you had voiced your opinions online, and I guess they changed their mind. Now it's coming out, and this is Peter Dinklage as Toxie, or Toxic Avenger, whatever you want to call him. This is him, and you know what? I don't hate it. I think it looks good. Now, granted, a lot of people are complaining that he's not 7 foot tall like he is in the comics and all these other things. And I get that. That could probably take away from a lot of this. But this is a reimagining. Okay, this isn't a recreation. This is a reimagining. So keep that in mind. That being said, I like the looks. I think he looks really good. Next photo is one with the classic broom. I mean, I don't know what's going on, why it's smoking, but the broom, we got a little more of a look behind him. Again, I like it. I mean, this gives me more hope seeing this than the original announcements and those little teeny tiny sneak peek photos that really were just shadows. This is far more detailed, far more involved. I mean, I say detailed, you're getting the entire photo. And I think they did this on purpose because of the mixed reactions that it was getting online, especially with Peter Dinklage being a shorter Toxic Avenger than we get in the comics. So I think they had to release this image to say, hey, look, he might be shorter, but his look is actually really good. We're just going to wait and see how this movie goes. Let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments on all 3 of these topics. Are you excited for any of it? Does any of it look a little disappointing to you? I'm curious to hear your opinions. Definitely hit that like button and subscribe button on your way out, and I will see you at the concession stands.